through. Same rules, 1 minute opening statement for everybody, 2 minutes for each question, 1 rebuttal of 30 seconds if they choose to use it throughout the rest of the afternoon. Questions come from both the league and the audience. And that having been said, first opening statement, Ms. Kimberly. Please stay seated and use the mics.
Oh, okay. Does that work? Okay. First of all, I want to say thank you to everyone for coming this afternoon. My name is Lynn Anderson Kimberly. I grew up in Weston, and I actually came back to Weston and was a kindergarten teacher and a special education teacher. I have 20 years business experience, and I recently opened a new business, a summer camp, and a foundation. I have 2 children who attend the Weston Public Schools. My mom still lives in town. And I joined the Board of Education for altruistic reasons. I wanted to give something back to my community. And every time I make a decision on the Board of Ed, I think about what we want and what we need, and thinking about the students, the teachers, the facilities, and every Westonite who's in this room. Thank you.
Ms. Beck.
Again, thank you to the League of Women Voters for hosting this forum, and thank you all for coming out. My husband and I moved to Weston 6 years ago as our oldest was starting kindergarten, and 3 of our 4 boys are in the Weston schools. Our youngest will be a member of the class of 2024. And although I have children, school-age children, I will bring a balanced, informed perspective to the Board of Education and be constantly mindful of the tax considerations and concerns of all our residents, whether or not they have children currently attending the schools. The quality of our school system is the single largest component driving our property taxes. So we need to listen to everyone's input and decide and understand what we value as a community. We need to work together as a community to maintain Weston's preeminence. I will work hard to help the board make balanced, common sense, cost-efficient decisions to achieve this. Thank you.
Ms. Harvey.
Good afternoon. Thank you to the League for this event and for everybody who came to this event this afternoon. The schools are a significant part of our community. I live here and my kids go to school here. I have 2 kids in the school system because I believe in our schools. I believe in the investment the taxpayers have made in the schools, and I value the community involvement in issues of concern to our town. Everybody here wants our schools to remain strong, but we must remain sensitive to taxpayers' concerns. The members of the Board of Ed are your elected representatives. That is why I have stressed during this entire campaign the importance of maintaining an ongoing dialogue amongst the 3 boards with the community on budget priorities. With my 20 years of experience as a corporate lawyer in complex finance transactions, and my involvement in the schools and the budget process as a PTO president, and also as Board of Ed rep, I can make a valuable contribution to meet the challenges ahead. Thank you.
Mr. Bochinski.
My wife and I moved our family here in 1972 and got involved in the town rather quickly thereafter. And in all the years since, I've had the privilege of serving on 6 boards and commissions and several other long-term committees, and have reviewed 14 Board of Education budgets through the perspective of a Board of Finance member, a member of the Board of Selectmen, and for the last 4 years of the Board of Education. And I do understand the responsibilities and the perspectives that the other 2 boards take to the process. It's appropriate that I've ended up, for me, on the Board of Education after all these other activities, because I've spent 43 years, my lifetime career, as an educator in both college and high school, including 31 years in a nearby Advantage school system very similar to Weston's. I do understand something about the way schools work. Thank you very much.
Thank you all. The first question will go to Ms. Stack first. As a Board of Education member, if you were asked to make a reduction in the school budget, what specific areas would you propose the board consider?
The school budget is comprised of many different elements. The quality of our school system where it is today is because we've had a stellar administration who has continually looked at how to continue to do things better at less cost. There are I cannot say specifically at this moment what specific areas. There have already been tremendous cost savings achieved over the past 3 years, thanks to our administration led by Jerry Belair, Joanne Keating. They have made tremendous cost containments and efficiencies in the areas of health savings by rebidding insurance contracts. The current year transportation system has been overhauled, and in going from 3 tiers to 2 tiers, reducing the number of buses has netted an approximate savings of $138,000. There's a new energy education program in place this year that will educate the staff in changing their behaviors to be able to make our schools more energy efficient. We are continually examining ways in which we can modify and contain costs as we go forward. So I will be able to bring my background in retail banking and corporate law, my ability to think analytically yet independently, digest all the information, and reach an informed, thoughtful conclusion based on that information. I will welcome differing opinions. I also understand that I will be one of a body of 7 people and without power outside the actions of the board as a whole. So it's important to understand that as a board member, I will be an engaged team player in the process from day one. Thank you.
Ms. Harvey?
Point in the budget cycle, I don't believe that it's prudent to target specific areas. We need to start with a zero-based budget, and we need to look at what each school and each department proposes in terms of each expenditure. And then the Board of Education needs to evaluate those numbers and assess priorities. I'll note that the Board of Education has already put in its draft assumptions for fiscal year 2011 a needs-based approach to budgeting. As already noted by Sonya, there are a number of cost-saving areas that the Board of Education was able to adopt in the past couple of years. She went through some of them in terms of insurance and transportation and energy, and also mentioned in terms of initiatives this year which include energy education and include some in-service provision of special ed transportation. We also want to look at if there are any other revenue sources in terms of any, particular grants may be available, look at other ways to partner with the town, look at other ways that we can work with our community organizations, our PTOs, the Education Foundation, and Weston Arts, who've been so generous in the past. And then I think where appropriate, and again we have to see where the numbers come out, but where appropriate, if there's any further streamlining that's possible, if there are any other services that can be brought in-house, then we certainly should pursue these strategies and pursue them aggressively. Thank you very much.
Bochinski?
I'm going to ask you, if you don't mind, to read the question again, please.
No problem. As a Board of Education member, if you were asked to make a reduction in the school budget, what specific areas would you propose the board consider?
Well, I can tell you first, there are 3 areas that I would not consider. One of them is the K-5 class guidelines, and I would not consider reduction in maintenance of our fine new infrastructure. That would be a long-term defeat for us, and I would certainly want to keep up the activities and curriculum we have. So where do you look? You look where we've been successful the last 2 years. Some of them have been mentioned by the other candidates. They're in operations, particularly in energy, where I think we have a really great prospect in the next few years to make very significant savings. Just last Monday, the board adopted a list of budget assumptions, and I'm going to read the first one. The district will continue to explore and implement opportunities to be more cost-effective, to contain costs and to avoid costs wherever possible. That, I think, is going to have to be the mantra this year, everything we look at. One of the other budget assumptions has to do with health savings accounts. I was part of the team of negotiators that accomplished this 2 years ago in a contract with the teachers, and now it exists as part of the design of the plan for all our employees. Every time an employee decides to take that option, that's a $4,000 saving for us. Now, we knew it would start slowly, and it has in the first year, and it's just starting to pick up. We've made a commitment now to recruit 50 more, at least, people in next spring. That would be a very significant way we can save in the long run. Thank you.
Thank you. Ms. Kimberly?
I might add what everyone else has already mentioned, but we build our budget from the bottom up, and it's needs-based. And